Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to be talking about the truth about lectins, what exactly lectins are, if they affect your gut health, and then I'm also going to be sharing about what I did personally when I had really bad gut issues, when I had chronic constipation, bloating, gas, abdominal pain, and just a really weak digestion in regards to lectins in my diet to fully heal. I'm going to be sharing if I cut them out, if I kept them in, if I just limited them, if I didn't pay attention at all. So I'll be sharing what I did with that, and I'm also going to be sharing what I recommend my clients to do when they're healing their gut issues. If you don't know me already, my name is Kaylee. I'm a certified nutritionist and gut health specialist, and I love helping people to heal their chronic gut and digestive issues at the root using very natural principles like ancestral nutrition and some other holistic health principles. So let's get into it. I'm going to be talking about what are lectins first, then I'm going to go over how they affect your gut health, and then I'm going to talk about should you eat them or should you avoid them. So first of all, to talk about what lectins are, I have to share about what anti-nutrients are, because lectins are a type of anti-nutrient. So anti-nutrients are compounds in plants that are somewhat toxic to people and animals. Now this is a plant defense mechanism because plants can't get up and fight, they can't run away, and they don't want to be eaten all the time or their species would go extinct. So in order to protect themselves, plants put these chemicals called anti-nutrients in their body to ward off animals and humans from eating too much of them. Depending on the animal, some can tolerate more or less. Herbivores can tolerate a lot more anti-nutrients, especially some of them have components in their stomach to break them down better than us omnivores. So we can tolerate some of them. It's not highly poisonous or anything, but when animals or humans eat way too much of a plant that's high in an anti-nutrient, we can start to see gut and digestive issues and start to feel a little bit sick. So anti-nutrients are something that you do want to be very mindful of when healing your gut. One other component with anti-nutrients is some of them are less toxic and more about how animals store nutrients. So one in particular, phytic acid, is more responsible for storing nutrients in plants. But the reason that can be a problem for us is because those anti-nutrients are bound very tightly to the nutrients, and it's really hard for our bodies to separate them and be able to digest or absorb the nutrient because it's bound to this big bulky anti-nutrient, and if it remains bound, we will lose that in our stools and never see that nutrient. So now that we know what anti-nutrients are, let's talk more about what lectins specifically are. So lectins are a type of anti-nutrient and a protein, but they're particularly harmful to our gut and digestive system. So I think the easiest way to explain what they are beyond that is to just go right into how they affect our gut. So that's what I'm going to do. So lectins affect our gut lining. So our gut lining is one cell layer thick. It's made up of these cells called epithelial cells. Now what happens with lectins is they go in there and they kind of scrape up our intestinal lining and puncture little holes between these cells. They also trigger a substance in our body, a protein called zonulin, which causes intestinal permeability. In other words, it makes our guts leaky. So it makes these gaps between those cells. So this is how we get leaky gut. Lectins and glutens and toxins and stress are the main causes of leaky gut. So when you get leaky gut, I talk about this a lot, but basically unwanted things can start seeping through your gut lining into your bloodstream. So you can have chunks of food, or you can have toxins, or you can have parasites, or things like that that are just getting easy access into your bloodstream. They just seep right on through between those cells instead of taking the normal route, which is to be broken down very small and move through these very small specific channels through the cells. So when we have these unwanted things coming into our bloodstream, we get a lot of immune reactions. Immune reactions are inflammatory by nature, and when we have this on repeat over and over again, we get chronic inflammation and we build up a lot of sensitivities. So you can start to get food sensitivity, sensitivities, you can start to get a weak immune system, you can start to get chronic gut inflammation. And if this progresses, it can lead to conditions like autoimmune diseases, joint pain, and eventually even cancer. So this is something that you do want to be aware of. Now, I'm not trying to say that like lectins are the worst thing in the world and they will absolutely be horrible for you. It's more about understanding the role that they can play in this. I'll get into my recommendations more later, but yeah, I just wanted to say that for now. So another thing to note is lectins have they're a protein, and their protein structure is very similar to that of our thyroid and our myelin sheath, which is the coating of our nerves or some of our nerves. And also it's very similar to our connective tissue, which makes them more prone, if you do get leaky gut, to get into our bodies and store in there, and can lead to store in those tissues and can lead to specifically autoimmune diseases in relation to those tissues, or diseases in relation to that. So that could be thyroid issues, connective tissue issues, or nerve issues. Basically, excessive lectin consumption leads to severe gut damage, leaky gut, food sensitivities, and chronic inflammation as well. So let's get down to the main question. Should you eat lectins or not? My philosophy is you should limit them. Our bodies are able to tolerate a little bit of them. Especially if you have a healed gut. If you have really bad gut issues or autoimmune issues, you want to go more towards the cutting out side. It doesn't mean you have to be ultra strict, but you do want to make sure you're significantly limiting your lectins. So let's talk about how to do that. So first of all, the high lectin foods we've got to be aware of. So what are those? The skins and seeds of squashes are going to be higher, and even like cucumbers or plants like that. So by simply peeling and taking the seeds out of different veggies like that, you can decrease the lectins. Also, nightshades are just going to be a little bit higher as well. So that's going to be tomatoes, potatoes, peppers, eggplants, goji berries, things like that. Corn-fed meats, and just corn-derived products are going to be higher in lectins. And it is a grain, and all grains are going to be higher in lectins, as well as legumes, nuts, seeds, seed oils, and then dairy from A1 cows can be a little bit higher as well. But if it's dairy from the A2 cows, there are either none or practically no lectins in that dairy. So if you get good quality dairy, you don't have to worry about this. My focus is on those grains, nuts, seeds, and legumes for the most part, because not only are those high in lectins, but they're really high in the other anti-nutrients too. So I find that the most simple, easiest to remember, and very effective method of limiting anti-nutrients and lectins is really just to limit those. And if you're going to have them, to properly prepare them. So I keep nuts, seeds, grains, and legumes to a minimum, and when I do have them, I properly prepare them. So that's going to be soaking, sprouting, or fermenting, and toasting is helpful as well. So you can toast your nuts, but it's not going to be quite as effective as the other methods. So if you have really bad gut issues, you might just want to cut those groups out altogether for a while, but you might be able to tolerate a little bit. So you can mess with this and see what works best for you, but you really want to be mindful of those categories. So I hope that was helpful and you have a little bit more clarity on what lectins are and what you should do with your diet in regards to lectins. Now, this is my answer for a lot of things. It's not going to be a hard yes or no. It's more about understanding how these substances that, come up as really controversial things as, oh, you should absolutely avoid lectins, they're the devil, or, oh, don't worry about that. It happens with gluten, it happens with dairy, it happens with so many things. And I find the most effective approach here is to really understand what component of it can be harmful and how, so that you can limit that, but also not become so afraid of every food and have practically nothing left to eat, or just feel confused all the time. So that's what I feel like is the most helpful. So hopefully you feel more clear on that now. If you do want to learn more about healing your gut, what kind of diet I recommend for healing your gut, and how to really heal these symptoms at the root, then I do have a free training that you'd probably enjoy. It is all about how to heal your gut and get your digestive system to work like an efficient machine routine, and it is so helpful. It's free. I'll leave a link down below if you want to check it out. This is a resource I really wish I had when I was going through my digestive issues and feeling really confused on what to do. I really lay out some simple steps you can do to really narrow down your gut healing routine to make sure that it is very effective and will help you to heal as quickly as possible. So if you want to check that out, I will leave that in the description. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to like, comment, or subscribe, I really appreciate that. It helps me out a lot. And also, if you want to learn more about my gut healing diet recommendations, I'll leave a playlist over here you can check out with my gut healing diet videos.